Hi, and welcome to Day 2 of Salesforce's Release Readiness Live for Spring 16. Thanks for joining. I'm Mike Torres, and it's great to be back as we take a look into all the latest features and developments that our Sales Cloud has to offer. Now, for anybody watching this Release Readiness Live for the first time, welcome. Now, you may have already read the release notes on Spring 16, but the purpose of these sessions is to take those notes and bring them to life with live demonstrations from our product team and live questions from you, our customers, that you get to ask them about our latest features. Now, you'll get to meet our experts in just a second, but before we meet who we're going to be asking questions of, I think it's fair to find out how we're going to be asking questions of them. Now, to explain that and more, I'm going to pass things to the Salesforce Success Community's own Sam Acuff.
Well, thanks, Mike. And asking a question is never easier. You just use the hashtag Salesforce Live. Use that in Twitter or use that in the Release Readiness community. I'm monitoring both. And speaking of the Release Readiness community, we have a slide to show you so you know where to go. That's your real-time, all-the-time place for Salesforce releases to stay informed. And we should see that slide right now. And in the meantime, again, the most important thing is use the hashtag Salesforce Live through, either in Twitter or in the community. And we have a no questions left behind policy. So should we not be able to get to your question, we will be answering it over the next couple of days. And Mike, back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Sam. Now, before we hand things over to our team of experts, now there are just a couple quick points that we do need to hit on. First, as we've mentioned already, everything in this session is going to focus entirely on our Sales Cloud product. Now, you can join us later today for our final session on the App Cloud, but if you've missed any of our content so far, you can find them in both long-form and bite-sized clips at www.salesforce.com/release readiness. Now, as one final point before we hand things over, we are going to be looking at our product roadmap in some of our presentations today. So to properly set our expectations there, we need to review Salesforce's forward-looking statement slide. If you're unfamiliar with this slide, it urges Salesforce customers to base purchasing decisions only on currently available functionality at the time of purchase. Simple as that. Now, without any further delay for myself, I'd like to hand things over to Meredith so we can get introduced to the team.
Thanks, Mike. Hi, everybody. I'm Meredith Brown. I'm one of the product managers here in the Sales Cloud, and I work on leads and campaigns.
I'm Andy Kong, product manager on the Sales Cloud team, and my area of focus is sales productivity.
Hey everyone, I'm Kayvon, and I'm also in Sales Cloud Product Management team. I focus on activity management and calendar management.
And good morning, everyone. I'm Marcus Torres. I'm focused on mobile product management, and although similarly named, I am unrelated to our gracious host, Mike. Back to you, Mike.
Hey, Marcus, thank you. And I'd like to pass things right back to Meredith.
Okay, great. So with the spring release today, I'm going to talk about some of the features that we are bringing to you guys around core Salesforce automation. So some of the new features that we have in Lightning Experience are insights, person accounts, some new lead convert experiences, opportunity teams, and we also have collaborative forecasting coming in Salesforce Classic. So let's dig into some of those features. With Insights, what's great about this feature, and this is something that was available in our winter release, but we've built onto it. So now you get a carousel of articles. So if you're there on your homepage, you can quickly go through, you can look at all of the articles, you don't have to leave the page. And what's really great about this feature is that you get a chance to let us know if the news is working for you. Do you want to see more news like this for a particular industry or account, or if it's not relevant, you get to say, no, I don't want to see this, and the engine will get smarter and smarter. Another feature that we worked on is person accounts. So if you're an organization that uses person accounts, you probably noticed that in winter you weren't able to turn on and try out the Lightning experience. Well, those restrictions are now lifted. You can have at it. You can try the Lightning experience. And if you have that B2C sales process that you're using person accounts, is a great feature for doing that. We've reorganized the person account details. We put the most important information front and center. And then as a sales rep, it's really going to help you focus on the things that are most important and know where you've been with that account and where you're going. Campaigns is another feature that is now available as a beta in Lightning Experience for Spring 16. So if you're a marketer or you're an inbound sales team and you're using campaigns to generate those new leads, you can continue to do that. And looking at campaigns in Lightning Experience, you can really understand that marketing accountability. You can track campaign engagement, some of those key marketing ROI and key performance indicators. And the great thing is all of those productivity features that you've seen in Lightning Experience are available on campaigns. So you can create tasks, you can log calls, you can send emails. It's really going to help you stay organized during that campaign planning and execution. And if you want to collaborate through feeds or files or groups, that's also available on your campaign records. Again, this is a beta release that is available with Spring. And opportunity teams. So we have lots of customers who have to do team selling. Maybe it's a very complex deal, and you want to bring in different team members to help manage that opportunity forward. You can do that now in Lightning Experience. So you can add them by a specific role, and by doing that, you get to control who can do what, who can read the opportunities, and who can actually go in and edit them. And then once you have these teams set up, it's really going to enable some great views on your opportunities and the reporting as well. And collaborative forecasting. So this is something that is not available in Lightning Experience, but is available in our Classic. And if you're using custom fiscal years, you have support for that now. So you can use custom fiscal year, you can leverage collaborative forecasting. It's going to get you those real-time forecast roll-ups of a fiscal period. And the nice thing is your sales reps can actually go in and they can enter the adjustments for the fiscal period. So it's really interactive, great feature available in Classic. So let's go in and look at some of those features. So I'm going to flip over to a demo so you can see them live in action. So here I am on my home page, and you can see here the account insights, and this is the carousel that I was mentioning where you can go through, you can see all of the news related to industries or accounts that you have. And this is the feature that I mentioned where you can say, I want more like this, or I want fewer like this, or you could even report the insight is completely not relevant. And that engine is going to get smarter over time and continue to bring forward insights that are relevant to your accounts and industries. And you may be wondering, well, where do these insights come from? So we crawl RSS feeds, we look at Yahoo, we look at Twitter handles and other third-party sources to bring that information back to you. So that's a great feature around insights. So I'm going to go in and show you person accounts now. And so if you're using person accounts, you know they're kind of a hybrid between accounts and contacts. And so you can access them from your account list views or from contacts. So for today, I'm going to go through and look at my person accounts on my contacts. And in order to set up your list views to look at person accounts, all you need to remember is to add this flag is person account, and then your person accounts can be added to that saved list view. Let's go in and look at one of my person account records. So you can see the layout here. If you're familiar with the other layouts in Lightning Experience, you have your highlight panel, which is being driven from your compact layouts. So you get to define the most important information around this record. You have some of those social insights with your Twitter card, so you can understand if you have people in common. And then your related list, as you would expect, any opportunities, campaigns that this person account is available. And again, campaigns being new in the spring release, this is now available. Cases as well, and any other related lists that you have set up for that layout. The other great thing is here's all of your productivity features. So you can see what your next steps are, where you've been with this particular person account. And like all records, all you need to do to just drill in and get a quick preview is just hover over, say, this opportunity. You can get some quick information about that opportunity. And here I can do that as well here on this, pulling from the compact list to find, say, the phone number or the email for this particular account. So great, so those are some of the features around person accounts. And since we're here on this record, let's add Benjamin to a campaign so you can see how you can do that in Lightning Experience. So we're going to add him into this referral program launch. We're hoping he's going to help us bring some new leads into the system. We're going to add him to that campaign. And now you can see that he is a member of 2 campaigns. He attended the customer conference, and he's also now part of this referral program launch. Let's go in and drill into one of the campaigns so you can get a sense of the experience in Lightning for campaign management. Again, you have your highlights panel from your compact layouts, the most important information around this campaign. And one of the features that I really love that we were able to do in Spring was pull in some of that visualization. So you've probably noticed on reports and on dashboards, and we have those great visualizations, those wave analytics, and we're bringing some of that charting into some of our other objects. So when you're looking here at your campaign members, you can quickly get a sense of who's responded, who you sent an invitation to, and who actually attended this conference. So that's a really nice visual feature. You can see the opportunities related to this particular campaign. Again, you have those hover capabilities, a campaign hierarchy. You'd be able to see a simple view into any children campaigns, files, groups, and attachments. And here are all your productivity features like you see in other objects. Where have you been with this campaign and what do you need to do next? So one thing that I do want to note around campaigns, around adding additional campaign members, one of the things that's not supported yet and why we're calling it a beta is the ability to do it in bulk. So on list views, on a lead or account, you can't add leads or accounts in bulk to campaigns. But what you can do is you can use the import wizard. So if you have a CSV file of your contacts, your person accounts, or leads, you can use that data import wizard to add new campaign members to your campaign. The other thing that you can do is import member statuses as well using that import wizard. So with that, let's go in and look at some of the campaign members. I'm going to drill into one of the leads that we have here on this campaign, because one of the things I want to show you is around lead convert and how it works with person accounts. So this is going to be a new feature around, basically a new experience, I should say, around how this works. And so typically you may remember that we make assumptions around, well, if you have person accounts activated and you don't have a company name on the lead, we assume that you want to create a person account. Well, we've added more flexibility in Lightning Experience. So if you're using both person accounts and business accounts, you can go through and create that new person account. Let me try that one more time. Okay. So here you see Benjamin, if you wanted to say it was a duplicate and you wanted to merge it to that, you could do that. Or you could create it and merge it with a business account. I don't see my new functionality showing up here, but what you can imagine is you'd be able to go through all of your record types for that particular account will show up and your person account layout. So great flexibility in terms of being able to choose how that lead's going to convert. So let's say I've converted this lead, Alfonso, and he's become an opportunity. I want to show you some of the features related to opportunity teams that I mentioned earlier. So here on my homepage, you can see some of my top deals with BioSpan. So I'm just going to drill into this and quickly show you how you can manage your opportunity teams. So here's all the team members. I'm just going to drill in so we can really look at what's going on here. So we have a lot of sales managers on this opportunity, but we need to bring in some new folks, some new blood to help us move this opportunity forward. And so the nice thing is that Sarah Phillips here is an industry specialist. So we can add her onto this opportunity as a team member, and now she has full ability to read and write this opportunity. And you can see you have a team working together to bring this deal forward. So those are some of the great highlights that we have in the spring release around core Salesforce automation. What I'm going to do now is flip back to my slides, and I want to show you some of the things that we have on the roadmap. So you may be wondering about account teams. We spent some time looking today at opportunity teams, but account teams is also something that we'll be working on over the next few releases. In addition to opportunity products, so if you want to add multiple products at once to the opportunity, that is a feature that will be coming in a future release. And more campaign features. So some of the things to look forward there are being able to add leads and contacts in bulk, get to that advanced setup so that you can manage the different campaign member statuses, get really deep into that hierarchy. So those are some features to look forward to there. And then if you're creating new accounts or editing, being able to pre-fill those account details. Shared contacts is something that we know you all want. We're actively working on it. And then more functionality around insights. So building an account insights app. And that is something that you have to look forward to as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Sam and see if we have any questions out there from the community.
Well, we have some great questions. Let me refresh my screen. So there's a couple questions out there that I'm going to refer to our Power of Us hub, because we're getting some great questions from some nonprofits, and I want to make sure that they know I'm not ignoring them, but I'm bringing in on Twitter one of our nonprofit experts. So in the meantime, let's take a look at some of these questions that I have. So in terms of this core Sales Cloud, are Lightning Actions on the person accounts page layouts configurable in Spring 16?
They are, yes. Just like your other objects, you can define which actions should show up on your person account layouts.
Awesome. Okay. And where do insights come from? What are the sources?
Yeah, so some of the sources, Yahoo, we look at RSS feeds, we look at Twitter handles. Those are the top sources for the insights that come through.
Oh, very good. Okay. And what campaign features are not yet available in Lightning?
So like I mentioned before, being able to add from list view, so your lists of leads and contacts, be able to add them in bulk through that list view. Mm-hmm. That will be coming in a future release. Some of the advanced setup features around campaign member statuses, being able to go really deep into your hierarchy and understand some of those key metrics. Those are some features to look forward to in a future release.
So a best practice would be to learn to switch back and forth between Lightning and Classic so you can see those things over.
Yeah, but if you're doing one-off, if you're just adding an individual lead or contact to a campaign, you can certainly do that in Lightning. Or if you're a marketer who really just needs to come in here and understand campaign engagement or access those statistics, those are all available in the Lightning experience.
Great, great. And I have a duplicate management question, and we might need to defer this. They wanted to know when duplicate management is going to work with person accounts, since we were talking about person accounts.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think there's anything immediate on the roadmap, but we'll follow up with that product manager and find out where it is on their horizon.
Great, great, great. Mike, I think we should continue on, and I'll defer more of these questions to the end of the session.
All right, thank you so much, Sam. And thank you, Meredith, for presenting the latest on our core SFA Lightning experience so far. But I know that there is more that our customers are eager to hear about. One of the realms that people have been asking us to talk about is productivity. So to give us the latest and greatest on that, I'm going to pass things over to Andy Kuhn.
Thank you, Mike. Sales productivity is a big focus in the new Lightning experience, and it's all about less clicking, less scrolling, and getting to the information you need quicker. In the spring release, we continue to innovate in this area. In Kayvon and I, we're going to highlight some of these new features in the spring release. I will focus on some productivity features around the workspace, and Kayvon will discuss some new improvements around notes, tasks, and calendar, and we will take some questions after that. In the spring release, you can achieve a whole new level of multitasking with the new Global Actions menu and the Composers window. Now, what is Global Actions menu? It is a new piece of UI that is always located at the header. That means you can access it from any page, and with one click, you can quickly log a call, create a task, capture notes, or schedule an event. And instead of navigating you to another page, you will open up in a Composer window that's always stuck at the bottom of the screen, and you can have multiple windows open. It works very much like the Composer windows in Gmail. That means you can maximize it, minimize it, you can switch between the windows very easily. So with the Global Actions menu and the Composers window, it really gives you the ability to work on many things at once, all without moving away from any work in progress. So it's a really great productivity enhancement in the spring release. In the first version of our Lightning desktop, we streamlined the email experience for opportunity and other record pages. So you can efficiently compose an email, you can attach a file, you can log your email, and within the process, you can even create an email template. In the spring release, we added more functionalities. In the spring release, we will support auto BCC settings from your user preference. Also, when you add recipients to your email, we also shows you if this person has opted out of emails or this email has bounced back before. So we show you all that information before you even send this out. In addition, not only you can create new email templates, we also made it easy for you to save to existing email templates. And remember the cool composer window I was telling you earlier? You can even pop up an email and have it docked at the bottom of the screen, and then you can navigate to other pages and find the information that you need while composing your email. In the first version of Lightning Desktop, we also introduced activity timeline. And it's a really great tool for you to spot what you did last and what you need to focus on next. And in the spring release, you can also filter out everything but the activity that you want to monitor. So for example, if you just want to see a history of your calls or your emails, you can now do that with the spring release. So it really makes it easy for you to zero in to that conversation that you need to look for and make that process a lot quicker. So with that, let's switch to a demo and see everything in action. So here I am. I am a sales rep. Do I have my demo on the screen? Okay, so great. So I'm a sales rep. And I am currently working on this particular lead. And at this moment, I get a phone call, let's say. And I need to be able to quickly jot down some notes. So instead of navigating away from this lead record, I can just go to my global actions menu on top. Like I mentioned, it's located at the header. That means you can access it from any page. And I can create a note from there. So let's say I got a call from John, and if I know this this person, I can even directly relay this note to the contact. And let's say I take some notes here. And of course, this notes is all automatically saved. And after the call, I need to process my notes. And let's say I need to schedule a follow-up meeting. I can do that. I can create a new event. That's another window at the bottom. I need to send over some quotes. I can create a task right there. And let's say I need to log the call. I can do that from here as well. And I can open up multiple windows of the same type if I want to. And you see we have a nice window management system and a nice transition. And it allows you to find the windows that you need very efficiently as well. And I can just minimize it, right? If I need to come back to that later, say, boom, I'm back to the lead that I was working on. So let's say I want to, on this lead, back to the lead, I need to send out an email. So I go to the email tab, and the first thing you'll notice is that I have myself on the BCC line. So Auto BCC is a new feature that we support in the Lightning experience. It is a user preference. If you have this on, we will always add you to the BCC line. So you can also have the same email in your inbox. So let's say I want to add another recipient. I want to add John. And as I type, it gives me some type of head suggestions. And you see that it shows me if this person has opted out emails, or this email has bounced back before, right? So I see all this information before I send out this email. So let's say this is the John that I want to send the email to, and I want to use an email template. So let's insert an email template I have created for meeting follow-up. And this email template, you'll notice it has a lot of merge fields, like the last name of the lead. I have the username, the user phone number. Let's say I want to add another. I want to add my company. So let's insert another merge field. And in the spring release, we also added the search functionality for merge field. So if I just want to search for company name, I can find that a lot quicker. Let's insert that. And I have the option to save this as a new template or save over the existing template. So let's do that. So I would just update my existing template. So it's updated. Now, let's say I need to also find out some information about to put into the email. Let's say I need to find some information about from the campaign or from my notes, just to kind of add some context about how I met this person. I can just click on this button and pop out this email. Now it's just another Composer doc at the bottom of the screen. And now I can navigate to other pages. I can navigate to opportunity. I can go to my task. I can go to report. And then while continue to kind of composing my email at the same time. And when I'm ready, I just click send. Then this email is sent out. So let's go back to the same lead. And you will see I now have the email that I just sent out on the past activity. And one last thing I wanted to show is now you can also filter your activity timeline by activity type. So if I just want to see my email history, I can filter it that way. If I just want to see my call history, I can do that as well. So to sum up, in the spring release, you have a lot of new tools to help you multitask. You can quickly take action from anywhere from the activity, global activity menu, and you have a Composer window that's docked at the bottom of the screen that help you work on many things at once, and you have an enhanced email experience. But we have more, and I'm going to pass on to Kayvon. Kayvon is going to tell us more about new features in the spring release.
Great. Thanks, Andy. So Andy was talking about all of our great productivity features kind of from the perspective of that workspace, which is incredibly powerful. So one thing you'll notice is that we also have these apps, calendar, notes, tasks. And when you want to work on your calendar across records, or tasks across records, or notes across records, these apps are really where you go. And so that's really the two perspectives where we want to really focus on productivity, is on the record workspace, but then on the apps. So I'm going to be talking about features coming in spring for our apps. I'll start with calendar. Calendar is hugely important, right? Calendar management. So there's a few really interesting features that are coming. First of all, there is a beta, kind of a proof of concept for a really cool feature where you can add any Salesforce object to a calendar. So in this case, let's say on this screen cap here, I have opportunities by close date on the calendar. So it would be really cool to see, in the week, do I have opties closing? Or if I have a custom object, for example, down the road, we want to be able to add that functionality as well. I'm going to be teasing a little bit of the roadmap as I go through this, just so when I actually go over it, it'll kind of get more real. And then also, usability enhancements like double-clicking to create a new event. On the task side, there's a couple of key features we're adding here to really let you focus on what you have to get done. Things like making sure that tasks that are really way overdue are moved to a different list to let you focus on what's really important for you. And finally, on notes, note-taking is key to the sales process. You're in a meeting, you have to jot down a quick note, but you also need power in those notes to be able to do things like add images, for example. You want to have a whiteboard session, take a picture or something like that. So you want to be able to do that, or also version control, see the history of the note. It could be really important to see how this note was changed, especially over time. Let's say you have a note ongoing for a while and you want to see what's happened, as well as filters and lists for notes. So again, there's 3 different apps here we're talking about: calendar, tasks, and notes. And we're really focusing on enhancing all of those areas from a productivity perspective when you want to work in those areas versus on that workspace. So those are the 3 areas, and now I actually want to go and flip over to the demo and show you a couple of these in action. So starting with the calendar, so we're looking at the new Lightning calendar here, and you'll notice a couple of things right off the bat. First of all, you have 2 different color-coded calendars here. One is your events, which you can see in this blue. The other is opportunities now, and this is the new beta feature for being able to put other types of objects on a calendar. So here I can see that I've got 3 different opportunities actually closing this week. So that's really cool. And actually also what you look down here is you'll see these calendars, and you can actually toggle these calendars on and off. And that's something that we will be able to do over time with other calendars as well. So down the road, you'll actually be able to create calendars and add them here, different types of calendars and different types of entities. In terms of those usability enhancements that I was talking about, one of them that we added is a quick double click to be able to add an event. So I'm going to call Bob and just click save. And just like that, I'm able to create that event. So just really making it fast and easy for you to create events and use your calendar. And so those are really the two key calendar features we want to talk about. There's a lot of investment we're going to be making in that feature to add other entities to the calendar, which I'll go over in the roadmap section. So calendar is one important app experience. Let's talk about tasks. So the two-panel task list, the task app, has been really cool. We know that a lot of you use tasks. Tasks are one of the most heavily used features in Salesforce. So this two-panel task list is really important because it lets you flip back and forth through the tasks really easily and be able to see different tasks and details on those tasks very easily, right? So that's an important area we're going to continue to focus on. So in this situation here, what we did was we know that sometimes, this happens to all of us. I mean, I have tasks that are overdue and overdue and overdue, and after a while, it's 2 months overdue, 3 months overdue. At some point, it may be that I just don't need to focus on them anymore. So we actually took those out of the My Tasks list if they're over 30 days overdue. So, but you can still see all your overdue stuff here in the All Overdue Tasks list, and it looks like, wow, I have a lot of stuff that I've been ignoring, so I better get on it. But at least I know where to find these tasks, and the My Tasks list is just going to show us what's relevant in basically, the last 30 days and coming up. And then finally, let's talk about notes. So we talked a little bit about what's coming in here. So there's really a couple of key pieces that I want to show you. First of all, adding images to a note, and that's really important and really helpful. In this case, I just click this little image button here, and I have two options here. I can add an image from a URL, or I can upload. In this case, I'm going to choose a file from my computer, and let's add this picture here. And we had a meeting outdoors in this beautiful national park. This is Arches National Park in Utah, and it was a great meeting, went really well. It's a nice locale. I was really happy about that. So it was really easy to add this picture here. And also, what you'll see here on this little drop-down is the version history for the note. So now I can look at any version of the note. This is the version before I added the picture. If I go back and I look at the current version, there's the version with the picture. If I need to go back to the beginning of time and revert this, I can go back and restore to any version of the note, and I actually can restore to that version. But I like this version here, and so I'm going to keep that. And so that's really the two key pieces for the notes functionality that we added, the images and the version history, both super powerful. And so that's the productivity apps for spring release. There's a lot of work that's coming up in those areas. And so that's what I'd like to focus on now is what's coming up. So I'd actually like to switch back to our slides if we can. And I'll talk a little bit about what's coming up on the productivity roadmap. So there's a few key areas that we focus on in productivity. So first of all, email integration enhancements. There's a couple of really interesting things happening here. One is, if you're sending email as a rep, sometimes you want the email to look like it came from your work account, your Gmail account, or your Exchange Office 365 account. So what you'll be able to do is actually authenticate into your email, and when you're in that timeline or when you're on that record and you hit send email, you'll have the option to actually send it via your Gmail or Office 365 account. So you get that continuity of that thread, but it also looks like it came from that account, which is something that you may want. Something else that we're doing for email, which is pretty huge, is a new email object. That's email as a first-class citizen from our object perspective. There's a lot that's going to be going on there. What it's going to help us do, first of all, as some of you or a lot of you probably know who've been with Salesforce for a long time, an email in Salesforce under the hood is actually a task object, right? Which is, it's fine, but there's a couple limitations there. If you have an email object, you can actually have it model the email better. You can have the formatting. You can have the storage be correct to store the header, all kinds of things. And you can have separate platform features, workflow, and all the other triggers and things on the email object be different than those on the task object. So this is pretty huge. There's a lot going on there. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions, and we can talk to some of those, but that's something that's coming up pretty soon. In terms of the timeline and task list enhancements, searchability, we looked at filtering. There's also searching for a specific activity on the timeline, especially for something that's a big account or really busy. There might be a lot of activities. Also, inline edit on the task list. So if I'm looking at my task list and I see that detail panel, instead of having to go to a separate edit, I can just go and make an edit on that detail panel and then just flip to my next task. So really improving the productivity on that task app. On the notes side, there's some really cool stuff too, offline for mobile. Marcus is going to talk about offline. That's hugely important. So mobile offline notes. Shared notes, being able to share notes with each other, as well as being able to create a task directly from a note. As you're going through your note, you might have some action items. And then finally, on the calendar, we talked about that ability to add other objects to the calendar, like opportunities. So in this release, it's essentially a proof of concept for you all to see the feature with opportunities. That's a static calendar, but we're going to add the ability to create a calendar for any Salesforce object that has a date field, and you can pick the date field and you can show those on a calendar. And we're also going to be looking into integration with external calendars, so your Google Calendar or your Office 365 calendar. And we're right now working on what that's going to look like. And I'm actually going to want to get feedback from you all, from our customers and partners in the success community, in the productivity group, and I'm going to plug that group right now. That's a great place to engage with me as I work on the roadmap for calendar. So that is a lot of the exciting stuff that we have coming down for productivity. And I'm sure there's a lot of questions, so we'll turn it over for Q&A.
All righty. So we've got a lot of questions pouring in from all three sources, the community, Twitter, and the social stream. Jason is saying email is a first-class object. He's wondering what the impact is for his storage limits because I think he's having some storage limit issues. So will there be any increase or?
That is a great question. I believe the email will count, towards your storage limit. So what we need to do, we should get with the product manager there, and I think we should start a discussion on, because I think that's come up in internal discussions as well, is what is it going to mean for storage, right? And so we know that's an important question. I think right now the plan is for it to count, but let's get that discussion going and talk about what that means and what the impacts might be, because we want to make sure that this is something that everyone wants to use and it doesn't.
Yeah, I think he's bringing up a great conversation. So Jason, thank you for that. Linda is asking, will there ever be a calendar view for tasks based upon the activity date? So as you're looking at your calendar, you can see the task.
Yeah. So the nice thing is with the feature that I talked about, you can actually create a task calendar, and you can basically say new calendar. I want the object to be tasks. And then you will have tasks as a calendar on your view, and you can then toggle that calendar on or off. And so they will show up on the calendar. And we will probably look to make sure that the way they show up makes sense. But so the answer is yes, you could do that yourself. But that's an area that customers ask about a lot too. So.
That's great. And we have some questions related to global actions. So can you customize the global actions menu?
Good question. Yes, you can. And if you go to setup, it is under the global publisher layout. And there are two of them. One is for classic Salesforce. The other one is for Salesforce 1 and Lightning. And that's the one that you want to use. And currently we support actions of type activities. So that means you log a call, task, events, and notes. And longer term, we're looking at supporting custom objects as well.
That's awesome. And now Tong said, a big shout out, love the new multiple windows feature. Now I don't have to navigate away from the page. So Francisco, along with that, while we're on this theme, how many windows can you have open on the global actions list?
That's a good question. I believe that we put a limit. I don't remember what that number is, but I really doubt that you're gonna hit that many. So that's the short answer.
All right.
How many tabs I have open on my browser
exactly.
sometimes?
But the overflow gives you the number,
yes,
right?
you do have the overflow and a piece of UI for you to quickly find the windows that you need.
Awesome, awesome. Mike, there's lots more questions, but I'm going to do a rapid fire session at the very end. So we're going to defer those over to that time.
Sounds great. And it looks like we are going to have time for that rapid fire session, so we're in good shape. All right, so thank you so much, Andy and Kayvon, for presenting the latest on productivity. I mean, I think those are some components that a lot of our customers are already dependent on, so lots of good news there for all of us. But before we go offline, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't pass things over to our final product expert of the day, Cousin Marcus?
Thanks, Mike. So before I actually talk about offline, I want to talk about one more platform customization feature of Lightning Experience itself. And that's something that people have asked about since they've heard about Lightning. And that's really about the left navigation configuration. So this is really meant to provide that level of productivity and streamline people's experience so that they only see the objects and the applications they really care about. And so I'm actually going to show a quick demo of it. So if we just port over here to my machine, and you can see I'm just simply in the Lightning home. I'm going to go to Setup, and it's as easy as typing navigation. Now, obviously, we're not talking about mobile quite yet, but we are talking about navigation menus in Lightning. So if I click on that, you can see we have a navigation menu for the sales users. I can edit this, I can clone it, I can create it by profile so that we're really streamlining, if you're a salesperson, if you're a service person, if you're built a custom app using the App Cloud, all of these can really be managed by profile. I'm just going to click Next, and you can see I can essentially drag and drop declaratively which applications, which objects that are really pertinent to my use case. So in this case, I have tasks, notes, but maybe I really want to show that calendar application that Kayvon was talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that over. Actually, there's multiple calendars there because I created a custom one. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the standard one back. I just simply click Next. I assign it to the profiles. All the profiles are listed right there on the left-hand side. Just assign it to the ones you want. Save and finish, and you're off to the races. Now, let's switch back to the slides because I want to get to one of actually the #1 request of mobile of all time, and that's really about offline. And so in today's world, we know connectivity is a problem. We're here in San Francisco, and yet I can guarantee you I can walk in places in this building and around the city where connectivity is a challenge. We want people to be able to work regardless of the internet or the connection to the internet. And so you see this in healthcare, you see this in your field service and your field sales teams. And so this is a key feature and a key just real platform actually that we're intending on delivering. So let's first talk about the evolution of offline, right? We've actually done offline for quite a while. We have evolved offline from Salesforce Classic, which was our first mobile application that we introduced. And we've really evolved that where we had a briefcase. And we had this briefcase and you'd configure exactly to the record of what you wanted offline. The challenge is a lot of you out there, you've decided to put everything in there. And that became a very big challenge for everyone. It became a challenge for our users, a challenge for our lovely admin community. It became a challenge for us. And after those billions and billions of records that we synced over time, we found that you were only using 0.4% of those ever. So we really decided this is a time to evolve it. And we are using Lightning, and Salesforce One is kind of the caveat for that. And so in the spring release, you'll see what we call the reactive sync, where we're really just grabbing kind of what's recent to you. But what's really exciting is what's going to come after that in the summer 16 release when we hope to GA offline. And that will be a predictive sync where we're using data science and algorithms to really grab the relevant and key data that's specific to the user. So, and why is that necessary? Because users expect to be able to work. I take the BART train. Some people, are obviously flying. Some people are commuting in numerous ways. And we want to make sure that what they have is the seamless experience that they know, the flow, the screens, the objects that they're accustomed to working with the layouts and all of kind of the customizations and flow they expect, and the data that's critical for them to do their job. And so what does that really mean? What does offline really mean, right? So first we're going to automatically download that kind of predefined set of data. In the initial release, it's only going to be with the kind of reactive sync. It'll be just the 30 most recent records first, and that's for your first 5 what we call most frequently used objects, or maybe referred to as your smart scope. And so that smart scope is limited to those 5s, but we also grab the first 5 objects. But again, you'll be able to create and edit any kind of record type within those objects, at least up to the first 15 record types. If you have more than 15 record types, I would say you should probably reevaluate that strategy. We also are going to support tasks, so full task creation. I'll get to that in the caveats a little bit later. Notes for viewing, notes for edit, as Kayvon was saying earlier, will be coming by our summer release, and then still doing the 5 most recent dashboards. A good thing to know, though, is if you previously viewed anything in Salesforce 1, you will still have that available, regardless of if it's in your recent records or not. It's just going to be available for you no matter what, and we keep that. So what's unsupported offline, right? That's always the question. So quick actions, unfortunately, didn't make it into the spring release. Quick actions are kind of key to you creating a log a call or a task or essentially an activity in context of a record. Unfortunately, that's not available. We're just supporting full edit and full create in the initial spring rollout. Visual Force, never going to happen. If anyone's out there and you think Visual Force will ever be offline, I'm sorry, but it's not possible. It's just the way the technology is built. This is part of why we've built Lightning. It's part of why the future of our UI platform is Lightning. And we believe that we have provided and are going to provide a lot of great tools for you to be able to port things over eventually. And server-side operations, workflow, triggers, validation rules, Apex, all of that lives in the cloud, and that's where we want it to live. And so those will be unsupported offline. Now, moving on, pending uploads. I'm not going to walk through all of this. I'm actually going to show you. And so I actually want to go to the offline experience. For production reasons, I created a video that we're actually going to walk through here. And so I'm going to walk through that demo now. So here I'm on my Android device. I want to be clear, in Spring 16, offline is only coming to Android. I'll talk about that a little bit more in the roadmap. But in Spring 16, it's only Android, and so that's what I'm going to walk you through today. So I'm going to go ahead and open Salesforce 1. I'm going to go to the left-hand navigation, and as I scroll down the left-hand navigation, you're going to see that there's 2 new areas, one called Pending Uploads, and then in Settings itself, which I guess is technically not new, there's an area called Offline Cache. If you want to make sure you're offline, go here and press Cache now. So I'm at Cache, and I've sped this up for TV time, and basically goes through. It takes usually about 1 to 2 minutes, and you come back, and essentially now you can be offline. So now if I go to opportunities, you'll see that I go to airplane mode. I am now offline, and then there's a lovely indicator, or what we call a toast at the top, that says you're currently offline. That goes away after a few seconds, and then you just work like you always want to work. And whether you want to see standard objects, whether you want to see custom objects, all of that is really available for you. Anything that's under the More section, currently under Salesforce 1, that is not going to be automatically cached for you, but if you recently viewed it, it will, obviously. Or if you ever viewed it in Salesforce 1, it would be available. So here, I'm actually going to a contact, and Mr. John Amos here. And what I'm going to do is, I know I've talked to him recently. I'm going to go ahead and edit this contact offline. So I'm going to click on Actions. I'll press on Edit, and you can see it comes up. He recently changed his title from and took over all of global sales for the company. And so I simply edit the title, something that our field sales guys do every day. And when I save this, what you will notice is you're going to go back to Record Home, and on that Record Home you have a indicator again saying this was saved, kind of as a draft, if you will, or a pending upload. And then there's a green sash up in that right-hand corner that indicates that this still needs to be uploaded to the server. And then as I navigate back to the contacts object home, what you'll see is that indicator shows, so if in case you change their name or maybe even the account, that way you can actually have a visual indicator that this is actually pending a sync to the server. Similarly, if I create a brand new contact, in this case, I'm someone, the predecessor or the person that is going to replace his function as kind of RVP of sales for regional sales in America. And this is, say, somebody new that I met on site. I'm going to go ahead and start to try to assign to this user that same account. And so for anyone who's familiar with Salesforce 1, what you know is we do that through what we call lookups, or lookup fields, or master detail fields. And the challenge with being offline and doing a lookup is you have no place to look up. And so what we do is we bring up the exact same experience you're used to, and you can type in exactly what you believe is the account. And we save that. You'll see the little kind of quotations in the search area there. And what we're doing is we're saving that, in essence, as lookup text. And we're going to match that once we come back online. And if we match it exactly one-to-one, it goes through, no problem. And if we cannot, we actually ask the user to resolve that again. It's a very seamless flow, and I'll show you a little bit later. So again, I save this contact. And after I save this contact, what you'll see is it'll take you back to, well, once I do the title here, this will hopefully go fast. And I'm a slow typer. And when after I save this specific contact, you're going to go back to the object home. And I want to stop here and just show you that the records created offline and are pending sync. This is kind of a new label that we put, and this is for newly created records. Obviously, we don't want to introduce them to the list because you may have server-side validation rules that require some of these not to show. So that's a way to indicate to our users. Lastly, as we keep going, you can see that if I go to stage left in just a second here, and I go down to that pending uploads area, you're going to see those records reflected right there within the list. Now, there's one thing that people always do, right? They always update their opportunities. And the question I always get is, well, what happens when I update something and somebody back at the office or another person updates that same record? Well, that's what I'm going to try to show you here. So really quickly, I'm just going to be in this opportunity. I'm going to update essentially the value or the amount of that opportunity because I just received a call from the customer. And so, of course, that's a draft. But now I'm going to go to those pending uploads, and I'm going to go back online. So you see everything, regardless of the types, everything's listed in that pending uploads area. I'm at, whether it's a contact or an opportunity, ignore that little thing. That's how we record the phone while doing this. But here, I'm going to go off airplane mode. When I go back online, what you're going to see is the phone connect, and then it's automatically going to sync this data. And what happens is if you have a syncing error, in this case, where you had a conflict where somebody else edited that same record before I came online, what happens is it shows you the value on the server and your value that you entered here offline. And this does it on a field-by-field basis. If somebody edited fields you didn't touch, everything magically works. But for things that were touched by both people, you simply make a choice. And because I just spoke with the account, I know exactly what the right value is. And I'm going to select the value that's right for me. And I'm really putting the control back in our user's hands. I'm going to save that record, and voila, opportunity saved, and we are done. And so I'm going to go ahead and switch back now to the slides. And I want to talk quickly about the roadmap. So obviously, Offline Readiness is available now. It has been for releases, but we know that offline is really about edit and create offline. So Android only is coming in the Spring 16 release. We originally intended it to be for both platforms, but for trust reasons, we wanted to make sure our iOS version was up to the latest and greatest Apple OS, which has some critical kind of trust issues resolved. And so that's why that is going to be delayed until summer. And then obviously in summer, you'll have iOS and Android, and likely the Windows platform will be available then at that point. And of course, quick actions will be supported, notes will be supported in that predictive sync. There's some gotchas here. I'm going to go quickly. Android only again. If you didn't hear me the 3 other times, Android only for the Spring 16 beta. Quick actions not supported, which I talked about. In some objects, if you are using Sales Path in Salesforce 1 for opportunities, not supported. If you're using quick task creation, because quick actions are not supported, neither is that. Simply switch to full task create. It's a simple preference and setup, and you'll be ready to go. notes, as I mentioned, profile, users, knowledge, and ideas. And all of these things are really things that we plan to get in the full version, just we couldn't do it yet. That being said, if you need anything more, if anything of your use case requires the word all my data, I need specific logic to run offline, I have to configure exactly what the data is offline, we really would recommend that you look at our mobile SDK. We handle a lot of these things automatically for you, and you really can just focus on your custom experience. That being said, I'm going to switch over to Sam, and let's talk about any questions about offline.
Well, we're going to start with offline, and then there's some other questions related to the navigation menu. So first of all, for Hans, can you repeat again the product roadmap for iOS and Windows for offline?
Sure. So iOS is going to come in summer 16, so that's June, and that is when we plan to release iOS. Again, this really wasn't a specific issue about the offline feature, but the iOS as a total in that Salesforce One app, we really want to make sure that had critical trust kind of fixes within the latest 9.2 version of the Apple iOS operating system. And so that's why we're waiting on that. Windows is currently making great progress on it. We believe it's also going to be a summer 16 release. The entire app will be offline because it is a completely the entire app was done custom just for Windows, and so offline was the #1 requirement there as well.
That's great. And some questions about if they're using an iPad, they just use Salesforce One, and anything for Salesforce One iOS is what they would be using for their iPad, correct?
That's correct. I think we have a longer-term strategy around how we're going to support tablets. Obviously, we have an amazing Lightning experience. We're seeing a lot of people interested in running that on the tablet. The one thing to note is the underlying offline technology can actually eventually support the Lightning experience on a tablet and even on your laptop. And we're working towards that, but that's further roadmap items.
Oh, so that answered the question about offline for desktop, because that was there. So you just got your answer. I'm going to switch over to the navigation menu. Mm-hmm. Can you modify the navigation menu based upon the application currently active? So they're wondering if that navigation menu on the side can switch be context specific based upon what app you might already be in, or is it kind of a one-size-fits-all?
It's a one-size-fits-all. I think they're referring to the app switcher. Obviously, we have longer-term plans on how we really kind of change the navigation and the flow based on which application you're in. But for right now, it's kind of a one-size-fits-all, but by profile, so you can really customize that for what
very cool. Okay.
What profile and what application that specific user or profile would be in anyway.
Yeah, that's great. And does this mean Lightning Experience can now show custom tabs? So what would your recommendation be for a customer that wants to show custom tabs on their navigation menu?
Yes, I believe the custom tabs are also supported. It's just simply would be once you create the tab, essentially it's available in the list, and then you would pull that over.
Got it. Okay, alrighty. And I think that was, this is a really good question. Do you have to do your cache for offline before you lose connectivity?
Oh, great. Fantastic question. I'm actually really
That's
glad
a
you
really
asked
good
that.
question.
So our automatic download of your data, and essentially it's not just your data, it's your metadata and a lot of things that are really required because Salesforce has really been a platform of customization for our customers, right? And so we're going to attempt to download all of that in the background. So when you background the application, we actually kick that off and we try to run those operations. But I'll be honest, it is some of our customers have very complex layouts. They have very complex customizations, and their metadata can be quite large. And just due to the nature of mobile, the way the actual operating systems work themselves, and they kind of watch applications that are running in the background. And if they're kind of taking too much because they're in the background, they kind of kill them in the background. And so my personal recommendation, and what I think for anyone who offline is a critical need, go and press that button. It's easy, I promise. And it's only 2 taps, one from the menu and then one to get the cache going. And I would suggest that, especially if you know you're going to be going into a remote area.
Be safe.
Be safe.
And smart. All right. Geraldine is just giving, she's one of our MVPs, and she's giving a big thumbs up to Offline. She's very excited. She thinks that this is going to be really helpful. Mike, that was the questions for this section. When you're ready for me to move into rapid fire, then that's what I'll do, which means I have questions for all of you.
Well, I'm ready. I think our customers deserve to get all their questions answered, so let's get to it.
All right, so I'm going to kind of go through these fast because we'll try to get through as many as we can. So let me go to that. All right. So we have some questions about opportunity teams, and Deborah's asking, by creating an opportunity team, she was confused. Isn't that the same as in Classic? How is it different from what you showed for what's available in Classic?
Oh, it's the same functionality. It's just a different user interface. So same platform. It's just bringing it into the Lightning experience.
That's awesome. And then Marie wanted to have clarified, is Account Insights only available in Lightning? We don't see that in Classic.
Correct.
Okay. So Marie, that was for you. And Justin, by the way, has been answering other people's questions.
Oh, thank you,
So
Justin.
Justin is getting the big thumbs up from me. Will we be able to click on an attachment name in Lightning to open the attachment? So he wants to know more about that.
The attachment name.
And we can always take that offline.
I'm not entirely sure. We might have to follow up. Do you know if it's a file or if it's the...
Yeah, that I don't know. I think we have to follow up.
Let's follow up and get detail on what type of attachment and then answer that offline.
Awesome. So Justin, if you could add to your tweet and give us a little bit more information, and then even a screenshot helps, and then we can answer that. Robert is asking, when will campaign influence features be available in Lightning?
Oh, that's a great question. So that's something that my team is working on. So we're working on it right now. We are hoping to have perhaps a pilot, Safe Harbor, in summer, but more likely winter but it is our top priority right now.
Awesome. And as long as we're on the roadmap, opportunity splits.
Opportunities.
And having that be available in Lightning.
Oh, with forecasting or?
Yeah, when you're on an opportunity and you have a split so that it's
That'll be coming in the next couple of releases.
couple of releases, great. Okay, so that's a roadmap item.
Yeah.
Quoting in Lightning experience.
That is also on the roadmap.
So I think a lot of people are trying to get a feel of what next is. So I would go back to this presentation and take a look at that immediate need. And if you don't see it on that slide, chances are it's going to be several releases out.
That's probably safe.
That's
yeah.
probably a safe assumption because people are asking about it. Do you support default teams in this process with opportunity sales teams in Lightning Experience, and can you add multiple team members at once?
The default teams is also on the roadmap as well.
Okay. Mike is asking, this is a more complicated question, but perhaps you can add a little bit of advice here. So if you're using the Sales Cloud console and you're flipping back and forth between that and functions in Classic, I mean, what would you recommend our administrators think about as they're trying to blend the fact that the console is now available in Lightning Experience, but some of these features are not, and what's the best way to work?
Yeah, so the console is actually an area where we're doing a lot of investment now and bringing that into the Lightning platform. So all of the functionality that we've built in Lightning Experience and kind of bringing that more and more into the console. So I'd say, really focusing on your experience in Lightning, your layouts is going to pay off when the console is fully migrated over to Lightning Experience over the next couple of releases.
That was that Mike, hopefully that will help you because that was a good question from Mike. I've had some questions about lead conversions. Are there any limitations to lead conversions in Lightning Experience as compared to Salesforce Classic?
There's one gotcha that I will call out that our users, our different customers have let us know. When you're going through the lead conversion and you're creating a new account, in the Classic experience, it'll take all of the information for the lead and auto-populate it on the account. That's something that isn't available right now, but we're working on and will be available in summer so that you can make sure that all of that data is coming over seamlessly. So that's one gotcha that I would have people look out for.
Oh, that's great to know. This is a great question, and I think this relates to opportunity close dates. Can opportunities be added to the calendar in Lightning Experience? And then also they want to know what's available from Classic. So I think that's an interesting thing. How would you get your opportunity close dates to show in your calendar?
You want to take that one?
Yeah,
Kevin?
that's actually, that was the beta feature that we looked at. And so what we have in Spring is what I would call a proof of concept because it's not customizable yet. We've added a My Opportunities calendar to everyone's calendar, and it's opportunities by close date. Now, over time, what we want to do is allow you to create your own calendar and also define filters like my big opportunities over, $1 million, or, so adding specific filters. So that's all coming. In this release, you'll have a static My Opportunities calendar already. And then in the next release, hopefully, you'll be able to define your own calendars for not just opportunities, but other objects as well on the calendar.
And that's a Lightning Experience feature.
That will be a Lightning Experience feature. It will not be going back to Classic.
Awesome, okay. So again, can these cool sales productivity features be made available in Classic? What would you guys say is the top 5 things that Salesforce Classic users should be looking at in the release notes? Let's give them a little bit of help here, because I'm getting this, is this in Classic, is this in Classic? What would you recommend that they go look at that is in Classic?
Forecasting.
So I think that's a tough question for us. I'll be honest here, because the truth is that our roadmap is highly oriented to Lightning. And now, if there's bugs, issues where we have to fix something, of course, it's going to happen in Classic. Also, as we invest in our API for API users, that's for everybody. In general, the Classic UI is not going to get a lot of the new features, and that's a tough thing for us to really say because we want to give everyone everything. But in terms of the investment and where we focus, we just can't build it in both places at once. We don't have the resources. All of our roadmaps would be twice as long if we put every feature in both. So in general, especially on the UI side where you see these productivity features, they're really going to be primarily in Lightning.
But to Kayvon's point, the API,
I'm sorry,
everything is exposed through API too.
Yes,
so
exactly.
think of Lightning as just the user interface on top of it. It's still our platform.
Absolutely.
We're still investing in the platform. Those objects are always going to be API first. So that is a very important thing for our customers to keep in mind.
I used to be a Salesforce administrator, and when I look at this, I see this as pay attention to what's coming in Lightning, because at some point in time, you're going to switch over. And Salesforce has to keep on growing that user interface. So, and so I'm getting this question a lot, but I'm glad you clarified it, because our investment has to be in making these key features available in Lightning Experience so that you can eventually switch over. You kind of have to make the leap. And then in the meantime, I would advise people, if it's a feature that you need that isn't in Lightning yet, switch over to Classic. That's why we've made it so easy for you to switch back and forth. Yes?
Yeah, and I think another piece of advice that I would have is if there is a feature that you're using in Classic that you run your business on and you absolutely need it in Lightning, be very vocal about it. All of the product managers are on the success community. We're looking at those ideas. We really want to hear from customers. That really does influence a lot of where we put our effort. So please let us know what you're doing in Classic that you absolutely need to have in Lightning Experience to make it a very useful experience for your organization.
Yeah, that customer feedback is big. So, everybody, you should be using the idea exchange, and if you don't know where it is, it's on the success community. Go to success.salesforce.com, look for the Ideas tab. It's really easy to post an idea, and then circulate it work on getting votes, because that's what's important. Is you need to get it promoted so that we know how many people are interested and impacted by that feature.
Sam, I would probably add one last thing, which
Yeah.
is I get this kind of similar question. I get it for mobile. When is this coming to mobile? Or I get, when is this going to come from Classic to Lightning quite a bit? And the other thing I would just ask people to think about is Salesforce has been around, 16, almost 17 years now. That's a lot of time, and there's a lot of surface area in Classic. And so what Lightning is not only a modernization of kind of our experience, but of where we're going. And so we really are looking at the experience and looking at all those features in a way to promote the best possible experience. But at the same time, that's a lot of surface area to catch up on. Whether you give us 2 releases or 2 years, to be honest, that's a lot of things to do. And so be patient. We have your back, so we'll get you in time.
There's a really good module out on Trailhead that talks about, is your organization ready for Lightning, and is Lightning ready for you? And I suggest that you go out to Trailhead and take a look at that, because that's gonna be a living document that you create. That every release you're gonna go back to that document and you're gonna look and see, am I ready yet? Are enough core features ready yet? It'll help you identify what your core features are, how you run your business. I'd go pick up that document and start filling it in, and then I'd update it every release, and then you'll know when to flip the switch for yourself. Personal email signatures. We had some real interest from Dave, and he would like to know, can he add his image? What can he do for his email signature on his emails as he constructs those?
So right now, when you can do that, you can kind of do that via the email template, like what I showed in the demo. You can create an email template and use the merge fields to kind of simulate your own email signature. But that is a template, and it can be shared with other people as well. I don't believe we have a special email template sections for Lightning yet.
Okay, alrighty.
Yeah, we should ask the email product manager, give him that feedback, and we should ask him if that's coming.
Oh, that's great. Okay, will do. Okay, we have a couple questions about the bounce and unsubscribe. Where is the bounce and unsubscribe feeding into from? And that's, we also from Gary, he's asking, is the opt-out bounce back status on the email composer, does it exist on the Lightning experience, or is it only available on Classic? So is that some stuff that we need to get the email?
Well, I believe the bounce setting is actually available for both Lightning and Classic. It is if you go into setup, just search for email, there's a setting for, or search for bounce, there's a setting that to enable that feature. And once you turn it on, basically if you have an email bounce back, you will kind of mark that particular contact. So next time when you try to look up the contact, you will show a little indicator. And as for the email opt-out feature, that's actually a field on the contact. So I think by default it's hidden, but I think you can add it to your layout. You can
For leads as well.
For leads as well, yes.
And from what you showed, you know how that you can have the settings set so that when an email is sent, it is sent on behalf of, which improves deliverability for spam filters. Is that something that applies to the emails that you're sending through Lightning?
Are you talking about? So are you talking about the auto BCC?
No,
Sure.
there's a feature that you can set in emails that allow, when you send the email from Salesforce, it automatically adds that tagline on behalf of, and it's in the email metadata as well. Maybe we should take this one offline.
Yeah, we can double check.
Okay,
I
alrighty.
believe it's supported, but we should double check.
Yeah.
Okay, alrighty. A shout out to Meredith. You give the most awesome demos. I have to share.
Oh, thank you.
Paul, that's very nice of you, Paul.
Sam, do we have time for
I don't know.
one last major question?
One last question. So let me go and see what's fresh on Twitter. Oh, there's 23 new results on Twitter. So Carol's asking, will the toggle between Lightning and Classic ever place the user at an object that they were on versus the home page? That's that toggle thing. Is that something that we can
what they're
answer
talking
from an
about.
app perspective?
Because I know when you switch, it doesn't kind of switch you to where you were.
Yeah, it doesn't switch you to where
Great
you
question.
were.
I've experienced that. I think it would be nice if it did. I think we've got to follow up with someone on the platform side and see if they have a plan for that.
All right, so Carol, I know you really well. You need to go put that in the idea exchange so everybody who's on this session can actually vote for that. Mike, I'm going to turn it back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Sam. You did a great job with that rapid fire round, as you always
And
do.
there's still more, and we will get to them.
There is still more, and no questions left behind, as we've been saying throughout the broadcast. And speaking of customer feedback, not only thank you for the questions that you've been submitting to us live on air, but we will be giving a survey on www.salesforce.com/release readiness. Now, if you help us help you to make this a more valuable offering to keep you ready for Salesforce's improvements, if you fill out one of those surveys to help us, we will enter you for a chance to win one of 25 Salesforce hoodies that we'll be giving away just for survey completions. All right, well, that just wraps about all the time that we had for our Sales Cloud presentation today. Thank you so much to our product team. Thank you to Sam Acuff, and thank you to all of our viewers at home. If you need to find any of our content on either this session or any past sessions, you can find that on both long form and bite-sized clips on salesforce.com/release readiness. And we hope to see you again this afternoon for our final session of Spring 16 with the App Cloud. Until then, this has been Mike Torres for Salesforce, wishing you the best in success.